following is a presentation of MRE Uno, Division 1.
Hello everyone, we welcome you in to the MRE Uno YouTube channel's coverage of the Final Four for Automotive April. We've got the champion from the Mustang region taking on the champion from the Jaguar region. We already know one of the individuals that has moved into the finals with G-Man taking the victory last night. He awaits the winner of today's matchup. We've got Myth taking on Gone. Gone has already locked up the rookie class winner with a few victories here. We'll get a little bit more into depth of it later on. We may end up seeing Myth be able to take the veteran class win in this series. Gonna be a long one, gonna be a battle of endurance, a battle of wits, a battle of skill here as these two have been able to advance their way through the T2 for 2025 in Automotive April, and one of these two is going to move on to the finals. They're both making their first Final Four appearance, both looking to make their first appearance in the overall finals here for Automotive April. Let's take a look here real quickly at the matchup that we could end up seeing here to close out what has been an incredible T2, as there you see it. You've got the Mustang region champ, the Jaguar region champ here today. They face off against G-Man, who was able to take the victory against Monkey in last night's matchup. But the question is, how did we get to this point? Well, let's take a look at the tail of the tape, if you will. As mentioned, the first appearance for both of these individuals here in the Final Four. Gone coming in as the rookie class, Myth coming in as the veteran class. Their T2 games records very similar, with a slight advantage there in the loss column to Gone. But as you can see, no career accolades. The CPU prediction has it very close. I expect that the CPU prediction's going to be correct in the fact we're probably going to see this thing go into a Game 11. And we've got an opportunity here as well with G-Man moving on. If Gone's able to win, we could have an unprecedented 10 versus 15 seed in the finals. But Myth will look to stop that here today. Let's take a look at Myth and how he got to this point. In the round of 64, had the sweep of the number 11 ALP Austin LaPlante, took down the number 3 seed Ghost in the round of 32. In the regional semifinal, he took down Logan, the number 7 seed, and then in a 5-1 victory, was able to topple Vapor in the regional final that got him to this point. On the other side, if we look at Gone, again, very similar records, 18-7, 18-6. He was able to immediately establish himself in this series with a defeat of the number 2 seed Captain. In round 32, he took down Leia in a 4-2 victory, then took down a number 3 seed in Tapir in the regional semifinal, and we saw just a couple days ago he was able to take down the number 1 seed KT to move into this Final Four appearance. He has been the high seed killer. He will look to see if he can take down the number 6 seed Myth here this afternoon. Let's head down here to the table, getting set up for this one. I'm Seth Cole. Caesar joining me here as he's our referee. Got a lot of people in the watch party waiting to see who is going to be the one to move on to take G-Man on for this tournament championship in Automotive April. Mentioned about the fact it is 11 games possible here. Best of 11 series, 2 power plays in play, and Myth, of course, being the highest seed, will get the advantage as we go 3-3-2-2-1 in terms of home game advantage. Myth, I'll start with you. Obviously, coming into this one, hard-fought victories to get into this Final Four. We talked about that your record and Gon's record very similar, so what do you think? Do you think this is going to be a lot of similarities in styles, or do you think we're going to have a clash in terms of the amount of play level that we'll see here, and do you think that that's going to make the road a little bit easier or a little bit tougher here in this Final Four matchup? And we do have Gon. He's not in our voice chat, so all the questions will be typed out to him, and we'll see what he has for an answer here. As Caesar, I'll ask you here as well. I mean, you look at the records look the same. You look at the road that both Myth and Gon have had to take to get to this point. They've had to take down some pretty high-seeded individuals. Do you see this? I mean, on paper, the CPU prediction says that we're going to be having this thing go to 11. What do you think's going to be the mitigating factor to keep us from having this be a rather lengthy series between the two? And as we're waiting for Gon, he is typing out his answer here. We'll be getting underway in just a few moments. Not exactly certain when the matchup of the winner of this against G-Man is going to be, but keep it here on MRE Uno's YouTube channel for the finals here in Automotive April. And Gon says he said the end of last game. Been a great experience taking out the big C's, but going into today as if he has wiped the slate clean. Starting fresh, this is a new game. Love that mentality. I mean, I think Gon said a couple of matches ago that we covered here, he said just taking it one game at a time. Caesar says probably either be a lengthy series or quick series with crazy starting hands, which is just the nature of this Uno bot. And I think Caesar just hit the nail on the head right there. The Uno bot is going to be a huge mitigating factor into this one. You go back to the matchup that we saw last that Gon was able to advance. It all really came down to top deck draw, came down to ammo return. We'll be talking a lot about that, I think, during the course of these games, but I say we waste no time. Let's get down to business. Let's find out who's going to be the one to advance into the finals to take on G-Man for this Automotive April tournament title. We'll go down here to Caesar, as it's going to be the call for Myth here on the first number of cards on the day. I'm going to start it out with the classic 7-card draw. And the second part of our Final Four here for Automotive April is going to get underway. And we're going to kick things off with the blue +2. Myth will have the choice here. Does he decide to run it clean? Does he decide to build off of the +2? He will build off of it with a 1-2 punch there. And Gon will follow in the blue as well. But immediately out of the blue is Myth. So that little 1-2 punch may have been all the blue that he had. And we're going to start to go into a little bit of a draw city right in the early going. See how long we go into this draw city. As both iced out. Now we'll have a swap over now to the green. Immediately the light switch over to yellow from Gon. We'll run in yellow for a while. We're almost back to where we started. Myth at 6 cards, Gone at the original 7, and Myth now with the drawback, so we're back immediately where we started, 7 cards each. Gone will get the possession advantage now, playing the yellow 1. Myth with the swap back over to green, using the wild. Gone had some green in reserve. And a little double play there with the green skip to the green 7 by Myth to take the possession advantage back. Both of these two down towards that end zone. Green +2 into a regular 2 there for Gone. Draws Myth back. Gone down to 3 cards. Myth will play it cool in the green. And Gone with the swap over to red. First time we've been in the red. Is that the card that Gone needs to close this out? Go up 1-0. Myth runs in the red. We're down to check for Gone. Now it's down to number efficiency for Myth. Plays red 5. Is it the color needed there? It is indeed. Red 4 will complete game number 1 just like that. Immediately Gone up with a 1-0 advantage. Just a little over 2 minutes. This first game starting out with the Classic 7. Gone, just give me a confirmation if you're able to hear me verbally ask the questions here. If not, I'll type out the questions. But Myth, it just kind of looked like a bit of depletion there of ammo off the start, and kind of for both of you seemed like a lot of number efficiency coming into play with the lower mid-tier start. All right, Gone, appreciate you giving me that confirmation. So, I mean, kind of the same question there. Looked like you were able to utilize a bit of ammo there, especially that +2 at the end. Was that something that you got when we went into Draw City, allowed you to be able to get to the end? And how important was that number efficiency there? Because we saw both you and Myth initiate the light switches. Nobody had gone to red. Once it had gone to red, Pandora's box seemed to be open. And I'll ask the question again here, Myth, if you didn't hear me. It looked like he had that ammunition off the start, got iced out in blue. With not having it, looked like a lot of ammunition to work with. Did it just come down to the number efficiency there? And in retrospect, looking back, was there anything you could have done to get it off of red, or were you basically stuck there? Was that wild something you originally had, or was that off the Draw City as well? That's something we'll be keeping an eye on during the course of this series as well, because I remember back to the KT series with Gone, that Gone utilized the wild quite a bit as well to be able to establish color control, so that might be something that we'll see both Myth and Gone during the course of this series. Gone with the answer of that he definitely had some good switches himself. Also, Myth a couple of times. +2 is just used to get the advantage back. So, yeah, it definitely seems like color control and momentum seems to be, or advantage momentum seems to be the running theme right now for both these individuals. But very early still here in this series. Only one game down and still plenty to go. The magic number for both of these individuals is to get to that 6th victory to take this best of 11. While for Myth was a misuse unknowingly from him because he was about to switch with numbers anyway, so a small bit unlucky. Okay, so yeah, we talk about timing and just a little bit of mistiming there, but again, don't know what's on the other side of the table. You just can only play what's in your hand and speculate what might be on the other side in the other person's hand. Well, Gone up 1-0. Let's get into our second game here. Myth, you still got the home field advantage. How many? Goes up 1 from the Classic 7 to the Crazy 8. And we'll see if this one goes a little bit longer. As mentioned, only a little over 2 minutes there in this first game. Oh, you're all good, Caesar. All good. Myth asked for 8. All right, here we go. Gonna kick things off with the green 0 sugar right off the bat. Myth will run clean in green. And gone with the early drawback. Myth with a ditto play. Continues to ice Gone out. Question is Gone completely out of green, or is he maybe not wanting to play an ammo card in green? Trying to save that and add some ammo to it. This is allowing Myth, though, to continue to run in green, regardless of which side of that situation we're on. Myth now down to 4. Make it 3. Gone at 12. Myth right there in the end zone. Gone might have to, he'll do the color swap over to yellow. Myth, light switch into red. Gone with 11 cards, may have some choices here, and he'll hit the red +2, followed by the red 0. Draws Myth back away from Uno for a moment. Myth with 2 freshies. He'll play the red 9. And Gone will follow with the red +2 as he advances to level 11. Myth still with red. Back down to 2 cards. Gone will continue to run in red as well. Myth, does he have game? He's at check as he light switches over to yellow. Does Gone have an answer back? Can he change the color? He has to draw. That could be it. We could be tying the series up 1-1. No, Myth is out as well as he'll have to draw. Gone now. Finds a top deck yellow 1. Myth continuing to have to draw. Gone looking to bring this back close. Not able to run in yellow. Not able to swap it over. We might be in a draw city. Nope. Little top deck there from Myth with the yellow 6. Not sure Gone be able to light switch off of that. He wasn't able to light switch off the yellow 6 earlier. And nope, he will have to draw again. And we'll continue to draw now. Looking again for a little bit of top deck. Maybe in a yellow with a number that either of them have. Or maybe get a top deck of a 6 of a different color. Both the yellow 6s have been played. Gone with a lengthy type here. Oh, loaded up. Wow. Top deck drew that yellow +2 possibly. Into the double skip. Light switches it over into the blue with the blue 6. A quad play there from Gone. Now draws the possession back even. Myth might be loading up now. Pandora's box may have been open. He'll answer back with the reverse stacked +2 into the skip in green. And then he draws. Gone now. Back to 12 cards. Myth down to 3. And Gone now will look to draw back here in the greens. Look for the number efficiency as Myth iced out on the green. I believe we've yet to have yellow played, so Pandora's box has not yet been opened, but a lot of ammunition used there in a span of a short amount of time by both individuals as we're back into the red. Actually, correction, we were in yellow, we hadn't been in red. Now Pandora's box is open. We were iced out on the red. Myth back down to 2 cards again, and Gone will bring it back to yellow. Oh, but Myth had a yellow 3, brings it to check. Now Gone has a choice to make. Did Myth potentially draw back yellow? And it's a wild +4 into the blue. Draws Myth back again, back even. Myth with 4 freshies. Myth loading up potentially here. What did he get off of that +4? Looks like he may have gotten that blue +2. He'll double play. Finish with the blue 1. Gone will run it clean in blue. And Myth back over to the yellow. Gone brings it back to blue, though. Says not so fast, and that ices out Myth. Now Gone can run a bit. Brings it down a 3-4 card advantage for Myth. Now even 4-4. Gone now looking for the possession. He'll get it as he plays the blue 6. Oh, Myth, though, with the top deck draw wild, brings it back to green. Can Gone running green, both down to 3 cards. Could be a finish here potentially for Gone. He'll swap it back to the blue. Ices out Myth, and this could be a finish for Gone. Nope, he'll put it to check with the blue 2. Did Myth get some top deck magic here? He did! He gets the yellow 2. He'll ice out Gone. And now we're going to draw for a while here, it looks like. Both individuals getting down to Uno, getting down to check, and both getting drawn back. Even hands here on this draw, but Myth had the advantage by a card. Now we'll have an advantage by 2 as he top decks a yellow 0. Can Gone get a light switch here? Or will he have to continue to draw? Or did he potentially get a top decker? He did get a top decker. I was going to say it was taking an awfully long time for just potentially light switching on a 0. He'll double play a +2, get it over to red, down to 2 cards. Myth pushed back to 9. Myth, though, with 4 fresh, actually with 6 fresh, correction. He's now going to answer back. He'll hit a skip, trips, reverse, and he's going to still keep going. He may negate that +6, which he will indeed do. Played 7 right there and brings it back to 2 cards remaining. Down to 2, Gone down to 3 as he'll run in the green, but iced out on green is Myth. Gone now, down to 2. Myth looking for the top deck luck again here. Can't find it. Gone looking for check. He's iced out as well, and we're going to draw once again. I believe that's a half dozen times that collectively these two have been down to either check or 2 cards remaining. Neither have been able to find the finish. And now we're going to draw back a bit. Gone finds a top deck green 1. Myth can't do anything with it. Believe that most of the 1s have been played. Both the blues, 1 of the greens, 1 of the yellows, and 1 of the reds. Myth will find a green 6, however. Gone not able to do anything with it. A lot of the 6s have been used. Both the yellows, both the blues. We've only got 1 red, 1 green remaining in 6s. So basically the odds are in favor more of another green being played before a light switch. We started at 8 cards in this game. We are over 8.5 minutes through the second game, as now both will find a little top deck in green, but may go back into the drawing again unless Myth's got something to light switch off the 5, which he does. We'll swap into the yellow, so now we're going to be able to be freed up a little bit here. Myth with the 1 card advantage. And a trips play there from Gone in the yellow. Gains a little bit of a chunk of the possession advantage now, 5 cards to 8. Myth plays it clean. And Gone with the swap over into the blue. Myth brings it back to yellow, however. Little self-ditto to be able to control the color by Myth. Red +4 there into the red 3 for Gone. Down to 2. Myth, 4 freshies, drawn back to 10. Gone back there. Close to the end. What did Myth get on the return to potentially draw Gone back? He gets a +4. He'll establish the color back to yellow. And Myth is iced out on yellow. Gone also iced out on the yellow. There can't be much yellow left. Both let's see, we've got a 5, a 7, and an 8 still left in yellow, and a 0. But we'll get the wild to bring it over to red. And we might run in red for a bit. I believe we've got still quite a number of cards in, well, not really. 0, 1, 4, 5, 6 still available in red. Doesn't matter. We're over into the blue now. As there you see it, we are now at 11 minutes in this game. After the first one was over in a blink of an eye, we have been into multiple draw cities. We have been close to a finish on both sides for Myth and Gone, but both have been able to utilize some good top deck drawing and some good returns on +4s to keep the other one from getting to the finish line. Gone now with the yellow wild. Ices out Myth. Gone looking for the finish down at 2. Is this the finish or is it check? It is the finish with the +4, and he'll finish with the blue 7. Gone will move up to nothing in the early going. The longest Myth game. Well, Myth, what an endurance battle there. We've talked about a lot of the different points we've seen here in this Automotive April. Maybe one of the biggest ones in this particular game was the return on the +2s and the +4s. How difficult did that make it in knowing the timing of when to play those ammo cards? Yeah, Gone, everybody talking about this Myth game taking 11 minutes, but it came down really to both of you being able to do well, not only on the offensive and trying to establish color, but on the defensive as well. Multiple times, both of you got down to check or down to 2 cards eligible for a finish, and were able to either have the ammo card or top deck the ammo card to be able to draw the other one back. How frustrating or how good does that feel on the other side to keep the game going, but how does that tax you mentally in trying to kind of reset when you think you've got something to end the game out, and then you end up getting drawn back? So a little bit of everything here in these first 2 games. We saw the color establishment and the number efficiency in the first game. In the second game, a lot more of the defensive play to keep one or the other from winning the game when they were down towards the end. As Gone says, towards the start of the game when Myth was close to the finish, could have changed the color but stayed in the draw city a couple of times to keep him away from the colors. I thought he had tried to ice him out, and that's something too that we've seen a lot of players do here down this home stretch as we got into the round of 16, the round of 8, eventually the final 4. A lot of players with the opportunity to kind of break out a color to help them, but thinking that might actually help my opponent as well. Let's stay in draw city for a while, and we've seen it work out multiple times. Works out at this point for Gone as he'll go up to nothing. Well, Myth, the third of your starting homestands here. The board is completely open to you. What are we going for here for game 3? Going to go down to 6 here, continuing to run in the lower mid-tier area. As we'll start with the blue 4, and had Gone, say, at the end there, just tried to keep him guessing what he would have had then switch to yellow with the wild because thought he had no yellow, and he was right. So, yeah, we definitely had a lot of cards played in all four colors there, so had to really keep an eye on what the possibilities of what could be in the other person's hand and plan accordingly. As now Myth will look to draw back to 1. Big play here right off the gate. Quad play into a draw, and Gone will have to draw as well. But Myth down now to 4 cards. Gone at 7. Of course, with the 6-card start, you're relying a lot more on number efficiency. How about that? Could this be a finish? We're down to check. Almost a finish there with the green +4 into the reverse green 7. 4 extras to Gone. Myth at check. Does he have a finish here? Could he be looking for the number efficiency on the 7? Does he have a green to close this thing out? Gone going to take his time here. Consider his options. What kind of ammo could have been given on the return? And he'll swap it over to blue. And Myth is going to have to draw. Gotta wonder what that card was, that final card potentially. Did he have a finish, or was he relying on maybe Gone to open up the door for him? As now Gone will draw him back with the +2 double play. Myth with the blue 0. And they will run in blue for a moment here. You got to think that blue 0 was off the +2. Myth now going to swap over to the red. Brings it back down to 2 cards. What can Gone do in red here? He'll ditto play. Actually, that wasn't a ditto play, but now it is a ditto play. I predicted the future as Myth is iced out on red. And Gone will continue to run for a bit here. Draws it back even. Myth gets the possession back, though, as he top decks a red 9. And now Gone iced out on red. Myth with the light switch over to yellow. Gone follows suit. Myth now down to check with the yellow 4. Gone brings it back to blue. And that ices Myth out again. Second time that Gone's been able to get the color swap over to blue. And now he'll light switch it over to green. Try to establish color for himself. Myth, though, he'll play the green 5. He's back at check. Does Gone have a finish, though? He does have a finish to close it out. Able to draw Myth back from Uno twice. Gets the finish to go up 3-0 here in this best of 11 series. And Myth, I gotta ask, back when you were at check the first time, I was wondering, were you relying on number efficiency there? I believe the card was a yellow 7. It might have been a red 7. I'll double check on that. I think it was the yellow 7. Did you have or no, it was green 7. My apologies. Did you have a finishing green? Were you relying maybe on Gone to play something that could help you have something to the end? What were we looking at for that last card? Gone up 3-0 here, and you kind of look at the turn of the tide there, the close of this one, able to get it over, not only with the ice out in blue, but then brought it over to green to establish the color that you wanted. Was there a point right there where you kind of felt the momentum shifted and you were going to have a chance, or how worried were you that when you got it down to 2 cards and he was at check, How worried were you that maybe, just maybe, he was going to have a finish before your finish? Because we talk all the time about that preemptive strike in terms of timing. Or did you feel immediately that you had the play to get to the end? While we wait for Gone to type out there. I mean, Caesar, when you're down 3-0, obviously in a best of 7, you're in desperation mode. In a best of 9, you're kind of considering that maybe you'd have to rely on a power play to get back into things. But with a best of 11, is the pressure on at this point, or is it still early game? Gonsaint was very worried when he immediately got down to such low numbers, was trying to guess what cards he had. Luckily guessed the right on the 7, managed to build off that, kept the colors switching, and managed to hold him off. And Caesar says, best of 11 Final Four. There might be some desperate moves made soon. Okay, so stay tuned. Could get very interesting here as Gone 3 straight away games, picks up the victories, and now he's got 3 home games coming to him. And he preempts me here as he's going to call for 11 here to kick off game number 4, looking to go up 4-0 in this best of 11. And we'll kick things off with blue 6. Myth saying it's redemption arc time as he'll run in the blue, Gone with the light switch over to red. 11 possible games here in the matchup yesterday between the eventual winner G-Man, who will face the winner of this matchup. When he took on Monkey, they only needed 8 games, G-Man going up 6-2 in that series. As we will run in red, but only for a spell. Myth with the color swap over to green via the 9. And Myth will swap it now over into red. Both trying to whittle down their number cards here via the number efficiency. 11 card start, highest we've had so far. What kind of ammo could have been distributed in the process? Might be finding out here as Myth could be loading something up in the red. He will. Little 1-2 punch there, a la Caesar. With the +2 into the 4 and Gone. Will draw. Is he iced out on the red? Even with the 2 fresh cards. Myth gonna now answer with the green +4. So now 6 cards in the last 2 turns given to Gone, and Gone will answer back as one of those 6 cards may have very well been a green +2. And he'll finish with the green 6. Draws Myth back a little bit. Myth now going to use his wild to bring it over to red. Gone. Able to now run in red. And Myth with the quad play to close it out. Double skip to the +4 to the 9. And Myth has life as he'll now draw it back 3-1 heading into Game 5. Well, Myth, we saw you start out this game on your 3 homestands between 6 through 8. The 11 card start looks like it yielded a lot more ammunition for you to be able to work with there. You know, when I talked with KT about this, he said, you know, you're very comfortable around that lower tier, but I mean, does this maybe give you a little bit of an idea if we get later on into this series? You might want to start looking up there around that higher card count. Wow. Gunn saying he needs to concede the mandatory 2 games, but Gunn, I mean, obviously you had the call there with 11 cards. We just heard from Myth. He got the 2+4s off the start. What did it yield for you in terms of ammunition? Because obviously we saw you get hit with a +2, we saw you get hit with a +4, so not sure how much of the ammo we saw you play was off of those 6 cards. Literally no ammo. Okay. Yeah, I mean, kind of on the flip side here for you, in the question of, we've seen you be able to win in these first 3 games of the 6 through 8 start. You go up a little bit higher here on this homestand. What does this do in terms of your strategy going forward, potentially for these next 2 home games? Do we still continue to run up in the double digits? Do we see you maybe bring it down a little bit lower here? Maybe look at a 5, maybe look at a 9, consider one of those two, or are you still going to stay up in that comfort zone around the higher tier? +2 was the only ammo that he got the whole match. And I would have to assume that was off of either the +2 or the +4 that was played against him by Myth. Playing a lot of hard cards recently, so might try to stay there a bit, see how it runs. And there you go. He's going to play high, as he's going to go full send 15 cards to begin this 5th game. And I gotta say it for Charles, never lift. We'll kick this 5th game off with a blue skip. Gone will run it clean, though, in the blue. Myth looking to draw this back up now to a 3-2 series. Gone looking to gain back. To make it a 4-1. As into the green, initiated by Myth. Myth with a little self-ditto there, sandwiching the green 0 by Gone. Continue to run in green here. Saw the 11 card start yield a lot of ammo for Myth. We'll see if the full send 15 card start yields ammo for one or both. Gonna see, I think, a lot of numbers played here in the early going, trying to whittle down, get to where that ammunition is going to be at its most valuable. A lot of color swap there, from the yellow 9 to the red 9 to the blue 9. We will not get Skittles, as we'll continue to run in the blue with the blue 5. Gone will ditto the play. Never mind, he will not ditto the play. He will light switch it. 10-4 Caesar, not a problem. We'll run in red. We're down to single digits, 9 cards each. Gone continues to run in red. Myth with the light switch over to yellow via the 3. A lot of light switching been going on, mostly by Myth in this game. Little double play. Still in the yellow. Gone iced out on the yellow. Myth now with the advantage. Initiates the swap over to green. Gone able to run in the green. And now Myth iced out on the green. So Myth iced out on green. Gone iced out on red. Can Gone take possession now with color control? Could be loading up here. Maybe a double play. Maybe a trips play. How about a quad play? The reverse to the double skip into red. Finishes with a red 4. And now does establish possession. Down to 3 cards. Myth gets the swap over to blue, however. Gone down at 3 cards. Does he have a finish here? Or will he get to check? He'll get to check. Little double play, +2. Finishes with the blue 2. Couple of fresh cards there for Myth at 7. Does he have anything to draw Gone back? Ices him out with the green wild potentially, but was... Oh, I was going to say, was Gone holding anything, and he did. He held the wild, finishes with the wild. Gone will go up 4-1. Almost very similar to what Gone was able to do against KT in the last matchup during the round of 8. Myth, obviously there's nothing you can do in that situation. You knew he was out on the green. That's how you played it, to try and see if you could draw him back, but it kind of looked like the ammunition was even on both sides there. You did a great job, though, on the light switching to be able to whittle your numbers down. Just couldn't, obviously, there at the end, you just kind of, your hands are tied, right? Well, we saw you be able to at least get your hand down. I think you were down to 3 cards via the light switching and the number efficiency. But I asked Caesar this question, and now I'll ask you, kind of go inside the mind of the player. You're now down 4-1. Obviously, I talk about this a lot in a lot of the series. It's don't make any mistakes, and I haven't seen either of you make any mistakes here. So what's the thing that's got to be the turnaround for you that you see here? Is it the ammo distribution that you need that's going to help you get this thing turned around, or is there something else that I'm not seeing? Well, Gone, when I asked you, with toppling some high-seeded players to get to this Final Four, how you were going to rely on the experience of those games in this one, you said you're just treating this as a clean slate, but that play there, holding on to that wild, the wild-on-wild action to close this out, as I said, it looked very similar to the strategy that you utilized against KT in your previous matchup. Was that something kind of in the back of your mind there? And how worried were you when you hit that +2, getting down to check that maybe on the return, Myth was going to have something to draw you back? So now with a 4-1 advantage, Gone will be looking for 2 wins to get this best of 11. Myth going to look to claw back, at least bring it to 4-2. We've yet to see either one of these individuals utilize their power play. They're both of their power plays, I should say, 2 each. We're only in Game 5, however, so not surprised we haven't seen it used this early. But we could start tiptoeing into the territory where those power plays are going to be utilized now, as we're around the midway portion of this series. And just check here before I read out Gone's message, just see Caesar if you're back. Gone says, was definitely thinking he was going to draw me back, considering playing the number to leave yourself on 2 cards, but took the risk hoping he would switch the color or leave it blue, and it paid off. Last game, small bit in his mind, and the high card starts definitely coming from his last couple games as well. So yeah, adhering to some of the stuff that he's dealt with in the previous series leading up to this Final Four, and calling back on it here to close out this 5th game. Again, both these individuals, their first appearance in the Final Four and putting on a heck of a show here in this matchup to see who's going to go on and face G-Man for the tournament title here in Automotive April. All right, looks like we're waiting on Caesar to return. So while we're doing that, we'll quickly show you once again what the bracket looks like. Again, we don't know yet. Stay tuned here on MRE Uno to see when the finals of Automotive April are going to be streamed. We know G-Man is waiting in the wings. The winner of the Diablo region was able to take down in a 6-2 victory yesterday Monkey, the winner of the Spider region, and we are determining the winner here today of the respective winners of the Mustang and Jaguar region, Gone and Myth. Winner will face off against G-Man for this tournament title. Let's see if Caesar is back yet. Doesn't look like he is. Well, we'll wait and see here. Also, apologies. I ended up being told by Short not too long ago that apparently I did have the desktop audio muted, so apologies for that. That is an error on my part. We are good as far as audio for the remainder of this series, though. Got a lot of people here that are tuned in our watch party to see what is happening here. If anybody wants to chime in with what they're observing, go right ahead, because obviously we're seeing a couple of individuals making their appearance for the very first time in this Final Four. What are we looking at here in terms of the mentality, do you think, of both individuals? I mean, Gone's got to be feeling pretty good up 4-1, but we've seen so many times in these type of series that you can have a pretty, what looks like a pretty hefty advantage, and next thing you know, the series gets completely turned on its head. Next thing you know, you're tied up 4-4. Is that something that both these individuals have to have in the back of their mind? It looks like Caesar is back. Nope, you're all good, Caesar. You're all good. We filled in the time. All right, so since Caesar is back, there we go. Let's get game number 6 underway. Gone, gonna go for a 13-card start. And we're gonna kick things off with the +4. This is also giving me shades of the Gone KT matchup, where I believe 3 of the games in that series began with a +4 start. And Gone will go with the draw right off the bat. Myth says that we're following culture here, so he will draw as well. Gone says he is the man of culture. So now with the draw on the initial, I think we're the first to start following that culture. Now we'll see who's going to... So it will be Gone who will establish the initial color start on green. Myth says he usually follows the culture, but if it was 5 cards and he has the winning route, he wouldn't do it. That's understandable. That was a little double play there from Myth. In green, ends it off with the 3. Both at 12 each. Myth with the light switch. Both have been very efficient, very aggressive on the light switches. Maybe the slight advantage on the color swap to Myth. Last game, do the same, but otherwise can't risk the luck going out the window. Yeah, you can't risk the luck factor. As Myth again with the swap. This time from the blue to yellow. Gone. Will follow suit. Down to 10 each. Myth with the possession. May have more of a possession here as, yes indeed, little trips play. Double reverse. Switches it over into the red. Now down to 7 to Gawn's 10, now 9, as Gawn brings it back to yellow. Myth with the answer back, still has some yellow to play. Gonna run in yellow for a while here. Myth with the 2, Gawn with the 8. And now Myth iced out. Gawn now looking to gain the possession back. And he'll do a trips play of his own. From the yellow into the red. And now Gawn iced out on red. Trips play into the red. Didn't have any red to follow it up. Myth now will bring it over to green. Might open up the door for both. Remember, both have a power or 2 power plays available. Gawn currently at 4 victories. Needs 6 to take this best of 11. Getting down towards that end zone for both as we run in green. Gawn has to draw, however. Advantage to Myth. Can he continue to run in green? Plays a green wild when we were already on green. And Gawn with the blue wild answer back. And it back with the green wild again. Was that Myth maybe learning from the last game? And he's got the finish. So he learned from the last game. He was prepared for the wild answer back. Answered back with his own wild. Has the +4 to close it out. And Myth now brings it back to a 4-2 advantage heading into Game 7. Myth, I gotta think, you scouted out what happened at the end of Game 5. You had the wilds to work with. The contingency plan, I think, there was to see, is he going to go back to the well? Is he going to answer back with my wild? And I've got a plan B here if that happens.
Yeah, it's like, once I saw you drew on the green, I was like, all right, perfect timing. Got 2 wilds to use. Then after the 2 wilds were used, I used the +4 finish game.
A great job.
Yeah, I
A
just want to learn
little
from
defensive,
my
little
last
offensive
games.
there. Gawn, obviously, in that situation, we saw you go back to the well, utilize what we saw you do to be able to win that 5th game with the answer back on the wild. But we saw you say when you said knew it there at the end, you kind of foresaw what was happening in that situation, saying you shouldn't have used your wild. Definitely a mistake. In hindsight, what would you have done differently besides using that wild? I mean, I think the green. Were you iced out still on the green, or did you have something else that you should have drawn on the first wild? Okay, might have been able to get a little bit of a top deck draw. Would have still had another wild, and then he would have had the +4. So he still would have had a finish, but yeah, you maybe could have gotten lucky on the top deck draw. Maybe gotten a +4 of your own, maybe a +2 as well. Nothing much to be done, though. Yeah. And Myth bringing up a good point. I was going to touch on this with him getting the 2nd win of this series. One more game, and if he wins, he will get the Veterans Class victory here for T2 in Automotive April. So we'll see if he's able to do just that. He's won 2 of the last 3 here, and now has Gawn's advantage at 4 to 2. Gone says you've won your 2 obligatory games here. We'll see if that is going to be the case or not. Myth looking to draw this series back even. All right, well, Myth has got some momentum here, and he gets the home game advantage back once again. He'll have it for the next 2 games. Myth, you're not able to use, looks like 11 or 13. Where are we going here for this crucial Game 7?
I'm gonna go for 10.
Going with 10, so just 1 down of what he had in his first victory back in Game 4. Alright, Gon's got to leave voice chat for a small bit. No problem. We'll just type out his questions for him at the conclusion of these games. Not sure if Caesar's there. Caesar, if you're there, we're at 10 cards here for Game 7. Oh, there we go. Short with the backup. Appreciate that there, Short. And we'll start this out in red with the red skip. I'm trying to remember. I think that now out of the 7 games, we've started with at least 3 of them, maybe 4, on an action card. If they'll play it cool, though, won't play off the skip. Begins with the red 4. Both of Myth's victories so far off of 11 and 13. Going with 10, a little bit higher than what he had on his first 3 homestands, so might be relying on a little bit higher of a start to maybe get some ammo, which was a big problem for him back in those first 3 games. Has a little double play there with the +2, draws Gone back to 11. Gone will play it clean there, play it cool with the blue 1, and Myth with the light switch over into yellow. Myth's been very aggressive with the light switches. Gone's going to answer back though as well. He'll bring it over to red, and that's going to ice out Myth in the early going. On the red, Gone now looking to draw this back even. Can he continue to run in red? Can he get the number efficiency to keep Myth iced out for a while? Plays the red 5, the DJ Curtis. And Myth finds an exit with the light switch over to yellow. Gone, gonna bring it back to red. Had the answer back. And Myth with the answer back to yellow. How about that? Red 5 to yellow 5, back to red, back to yellow. Gone with yellow, but nice little back and forth there. Both these two have seemed to have contingency plans against each other, and they have been utilizing them to perfection. As now we're back. Now we're over into green. I believe this might be the first time we're in green this entire game. And this could be the home stretch to a finish here, as that is going to be, I believe, a potential finish here. Nope, actually the +2. So drew him back, and Myth iced out on the green. Now does Gone have a finish with 3 cards left? No, instead the light switch over to yellow. Did the +2 give any yellow to Myth? It gave him a yellow +2. Now he'll draw Gone back. He'll get the possession. Gone with the power play. Looking to go up 5-2. He'll get it with a trips play. And he'll finish it out with the blue 2. It's a good point as well. Opportunity there for Myth to be able to do the Uno call out, as Uno was not called. But Gone gets away with it, and he will now go up 5-2, 1 win away from advancing into the finals against G-Man. Myth, obviously, in that one, it was a lot of fun to actually watch that back and forth there with the fives, but I don't know. What do you think? Maybe the yield on the +2 that you hit him with, maybe coming back to bite you. Like, what was the situation there? And also, with calling for the 10 card start a little bit higher than what you had done the initial 3, was that the search for ammunition that you'd been lacking in those first 3 games?
Yeah, I was finding like some sort of success with like some of the higher cards. So I was like, okay, I won 11 and 13. I as well try 10. And like my mistake this game was like I played the +2, which definitely helped on out because had I like iced out instead, I could like go through something else.
And we're going to have to type out the question here for Gone. All right, we'll see what he answers back with that one. Myth still has 2 power plays available. We'll have to see now if at least one of them might have to be used defensively to keep Gone from finishing this game out, this series out. On the flip side, Gone still has a power play available as well. Just saw him utilize one to be able to get to match point. And he may end up using his second to be able to take the entire series. I asked him if it mentioned he got lucky on not getting hit with the Uno call out there, which if I recall correctly was something that he ended up having happen in the match against KT as well. He was able to still combat that. But he used the power play and asked if he had to finish before the +2 or if that actually helped him. Exact same thing would have happened before the +2. He just got hit with 2 blue number cards. So it didn't change the situation much. Still had a plan and was able to stick to said plan. Wouldn't have had to use the power play though, so he got that out of there. Okay, so he would have still had the finish at the end, but he needed the power play to link it together after the +2. So now Gone down a power play, still has 1 left in the chamber. Myth still has both. And Myth still does have the possession as well in his 5th home game. So Myth, you still have everything available, but 11 and 13. What are we going with here in game number 7? No, game number 8. Only 13 is off? Oh, nope, you're right, because the 11 was... Yep, 11 was called by Gone. Good call. Oh, okay. Was not aware of that ruling. All right, Myth, what are we looking at here for game 8?
I think I'm gonna go for 8.
Going to go with 8 cards. Same as what we started with in game 2. And another action card to kick off this one. Dealer's choice in terms of the color. And we may do the double draw to kick this thing off once again. Myth does it. Let's see if Gone does as well. As Red says, the culture. And indeed, we'll do the double draw. So we'll start in green. Myth kicks us off with the green 5. Myth still with 2 power plays. Gone with 1. Gone currently at 5 victories. Myth at 2. Gone's at match point here in this best of 11 series. Winner goes on to face G-Man in the finals here for Automotive April. Gone will initiate the color swap this time. Last couple games, it's been Myth that's initiated it. And Myth will run in red. And Gone iced out in the early going on red. Myth now with possession, with advantage. Breaks open to green, however. May open up the opportunity for Gone to be able to run here. A lot of numbers here as we start to get down to 4 cards remaining for Myth. Does he have a finish? 2 power plays available. Would he utilize one at this point in time? Try and draw it back 5-3. Gone, though. Swaps it over to yellow. And Myth says we're going back to red. Down to 3 cards. And Gone iced out once again. Myth going to be able to run in red. Down to 2. Gone with the 9. Does Myth have a finish here? He does have a finish. No power play needed. He'll pick up his 3rd win, draw it back 5-3, keep those 2 power plays in the back chamber. Continuing this series now. And indeed, with that victory, Myth is the veteran class winner here for T2 in Automotive April. So congratulations on that, Myth, picking up the victories necessary to claim that veteran class title. But more importantly, keeping this series alive and still having those 2 power plays available as well. So obviously still sitting with Gone at match point, but having those 2 power plays at your disposal, not having to use one of them here and be able to pick up yet another victory, cut that advantage down to 2 games. That's got to be a bit of a momentum shift, I guess, for you in terms of confidence now, knowing that Gone's going to have to play a little bit more defensively here now rather than necessarily going all offensive to get that final victory in this series.
Yeah, that game was like saved my momentum and like with that win, I still have a chance with the 2 power plays, 3 games left. And I'm looking forward to what these last 3 games can bring.
And we'll find out here from Gone. Kind of looked like for the most part, looked like both were pretty iced out in terms of ammunition. We saw the ammunition there at the end. Oh, okay, we got Gone back in here, so I can actually verbally ask him this question rather than typing it out. Gone, obviously now, you've got a 5-3 advantage. You're at match point, but Myth, only 2 victories behind you to tie this thing up, set this into a crucial game 11, and he's still got his 2 power plays available. So where are you in terms of the mentality going into this next game? Are you still looking offensively at match point to close this thing out? Or do you have to kind of shift gears now and look at this a little bit more defensively, knowing he's got those 2 power plays still in the back pocket? Was eating dinner, got a bit distracted, didn't realize he was low. Got to lock in now and hopefully finish this thing quickly. All right, well, getting ready for what should be a crucial game number 9 5-3 advantage for Gone. 2 power plays for Myth, 1 power play for Gone. Good thing I'm the speedster, says Myth. Alright, here we go. Gone now gets the advantage here in this 9th game. Gone, what are we going for here? As Short points out, no 10. Gone says another 12-minute game, so he'll accordingly ask for 12 cards. Can Myth draw it closer? 5-4. Can Gone take the series in this one? And here we go. We'll start things off in yellow. 12 card start. Could be some pretty good ammo distributed. I think we're going to run numbers, though, to start this thing off. As Gone with the immediate light switch into red. Myth will follow suit with the 7. Gone aggressive on the light switches, now to blue. We're going for a quad play, it looks like here. There it is. Just missed the P on the command there. Quad play. Skip to the double reverse into the 9. Okay, we'll pretend that part didn't happen. I saw a P there. Gone will play it cool, though, but he will light switch it into the yellow. Myth with the possession, 7 cards to 9. Another double play there from Myth. A lot of ammo used there, not necessarily offensive ammunition, but helps him draw his hand lower, but now iced out on the red. And Gone will look to run now. Myth with this color swap over to green. And Myth with a +2 double play into the 6. Draws Gone back to 8. He wanted to play a Hazel card. I don't think Hazel is a shade of green, but we'll pretend it is for right now. Myth down to 3 cards. The Uno DLC. What do we got? Hazel and Fuchsia and Aqua. Gone with a double play skip. Well, no, actually just a skip into a draw. Is this a finish for Myth? No power play yet. Might have the finish and may still have those 2 power plays. No, instead, just the blue wild. Gone iced out on blue. This could be it. This could be the finish with 2 power plays still available. No, check for Myth. Decided not to use the power play at this point in time. Interesting. Could there be a top deck miracle for Gone? There was. Top decked the +2 into the draw. Draws back Myth. Blue 3. That might have been the card he was looking to end on. And now Myth is iced out. Yup, that blue 3 had to have been his finishing card. And now we're going to draw for a bit here. Myth draws back from Uno. Gone will play the blue 9 to keep from going to double digits. Myth still iced out on the blue. Gone trying to draw this even. Light switches to green. Double play there from Myth. Gotta wonder back there. That top deck draw worked for Gone. If a power play had been utilized, one of the 2 power plays for Myth, we'd be talking about a 5-4 series. We'll have to ask him about that. Whether he considered the power play or not at that point in time to finish out this game may have cost him. See if he can bring it back here now. Still has the 2 power plays if he's able to get down to around the 2-3 cards left. Little ditto play there. with the red 5. Myth's at 2. Gone with the light switch over to yellow. Does Smith have an answer? He does. The +4 into the 6 to close it out in yellow. No power play needed. He will bring it to 5-4. Myth, you're able to pick up this victory in Game 9. Had to wait a little longer to finish it out. I gotta ask, you still had both power plays here going into Game 9. Looked like we ended up having that little bit of luck there for Gone on the top deck draw with the +2. You could have negated that with the power play and closed out this 9th game earlier on. Was that in the back of your mind there at that point in time, or did you want to preserve those 2 power plays just in case you were able to get this Game 9 just on the cards alone and have them available heading into now a crucial Game 10, maybe even Game 11?
My mindset was like, I want to save the power plays for the last 2 games because, like, if I use it this one, then it just takes one power play from Gone to take home the win.
Gone on the flip side, got lucky with that top deck draw with the +2, but with not knowing whether or not the bot and the hand was going to give you the card necessary to draw Myth back. Obviously, he had 2 power plays. You still got the 1. It comes down to who plays the power play first. Did you maybe think about utilizing your power play defensively there? Or are you the same mindset as Myth of you've already used 1 power play, now you want to save that last one for the offensive in the late games? Not a big fan of the defensive power play, so it really wasn't a thought. Okay, well, mentioned that this definitely was looking like a series that could go into the final innings. We are at a 5-4 Gone over Myth. Power plays still in play there. 2 for Myth, 1 for Gone. Myth looking to draw this even 5-5, force us into a pivotal series-defining Game 11. Gone says, just gotten unfortunate last 2 games, so he doesn't know. And if he botches this... Okay, well, we'll see if indeed Myth is going to be able to draw this here. Still at game point, still at match point is Gone. And Gone is going to get his final homestand. If we go into a Game 11, the advantage will go to Myth. Full send, says Gone, here in Game 10. I feel like in Game 7, Game 8, Game 9, I've called them pivotal. They all have been. But now we'll do pivotal with capital letters for this 10th game. Myth trying to mount the comeback here after being down 4-1 at the conclusion of Game 5. He is now within 1 at 5-4. There it is, pivotal all caps, as we will begin in yellow. Myth with the light switch over to red in the early going here. And we're going to run in red for the time being. Gone with the red 5. And Myth with the color swap over to blue. Going to see, I think, some aggressive color swapping here in the early going. The number efficiency, trying to establish color possession. Gone with the change back to red. Myth will run in red. Gone brings it over to blue now via the 7. Whittling down cards, whittling down numbers. Trying to get down to the single digits at least here. Kale. What color is that? A very, very dark green. Little double play there from Myth. Trying to alleviate number of cards. Trying to get closer to that end zone there. Gone still with the possession. Myth with the color swap over to green. And Gone comes back to red. Third color swap over to red this game by Gone. Myth with red in reserve. We're down to 6 cards for Gone. 7 now for Myth as he'll light switch into the yellow. Where is the ammunition? Swapping over into the green now does Gone. 2 power plays for Myth. 1 power play for Gone. 1 win away from a series victory for Gone. 1 win away for a series tie to send it into a game 11 for Myth. We continue to run in green. 5 cards away for Gone. 6 away for Myth. We could be in that end zone. We could be there for a finish. Double play by Gone with the +2. Draws Myth back. Gone down to 3. Does Myth have an answer? Could Gone be in the territory, maybe with a power play next turn to take this series, face off against G-Man for the tournament here in Automotive April? Myth might have something here with those 2 fresh cards. Quad play with trips reverses into the yellow. Will that ice out Gone? Does Gone have an answer? He'll play it cool with the yellow 4, so no finish yet, no power play initialized. Myth follows suit with the yellow 6. Does Gone have a card to get to the end? Can he use the power play? Yes, he can. This is going to be the series victory. How does he finish it out? Red Wild, Myth with the draw, and the red 6 will close it out. Gone will face G-Man. It will be a 10 seed versus a 15 seed in the finals here for Automotive April, as Gone will take the series 6-4. Myth had a +4 in reserve, he just said right there, to maybe draw Gone back, maybe send this into a game 11. We talk about timing there, Myth. You mentioned about that +4 there. Should have utilized it. I mean, obviously, hindsight is 20/20, but I mean, incredible job of trying to utilize the light switches there in this one. You were able to draw him back for a time. You know, he said that he didn't really want to utilize a power play defensively. You had the +4, you had 2 power plays in reserve. If you had ended up utilizing one here, you still would have had one available if we'd gone into a game 11. Had a lot of options. Was it the +4, do you think, should have been that first option there to be able to try and extend this thing, try and get this to a final game?
Possibly. I was like, I had 3 colors and 2 of them with the same number, but I was like, I should have took better note like when he had 2 cards. But once I saw him saying power play, I knew it was over.
Yeah, we saw him, I think it was down to 3 cards there. I mean, you know, in that hindsight as well, would there have been a possible option in the back of your mind of saving that +4 and using a defensive power play in case you might have been able to have a finish yourself, draw him back with the power play, and then be able to use the +4 offensively rather than defensively?
I'm not sure. I don't really use power plays defensively unless needed. I mean, it's rare saying for me to use power plays to begin with. Oh yeah.
Gone, congratulations. You're going to be advancing into the finals to take on G-Man for this tournament here in Automotive April. You mentioned about the fact in that last game, you're not really one to use the power plays defensively. You want to play them offensively. You heard right there that Myth had the +4 to be able to draw you back. You got down to 3 cards. Were you expecting at that point in time that you were going to see, you know, maybe a +4, maybe a defensive power play used against you? Did you have a plan in place for something like that? We obviously saw you had the Wild to be able to close things out after your power play, but if that point in time, if a power play or that +4 had been utilized, did you have something in mind to still be able to finish this thing out with the utilization of the power play? Really didn't know what to expect. The emotion and the relief that ran through you when you stayed on 2 was immense. I can imagine. Yeah, especially when you're down there. A lot of people might have that +2, might have a +4. Backup plan was to reset, just make sure that he didn't finish. Well, congratulations taking this series. You had the early advantage. Great job by Myth to start drawing it back. Almost got it tied back up to send us into Game 11, but you're going on to face against G-Man. I know I've asked you this question numerous times in your victories here in Automotive April, and you're probably going to give me the same answer, but I'm obligated to ask you. I mean, now that the pressure amps up, you're now in the hunt. Your first Final 8 appearance, your first Final 4 appearance, now your first appearance in the tournament finals. How do you mentally prepare for something like that going up against G-Man? And Gone saying back in one of his first quotes in the tournament, answering back to Leia that unlucky that he's underseeded. And that's the thing, too. I mean, Short filled me in during the course of the matchups that I've covered that Gone's been a part of, that while he may be a 15 seed here in T1, he has not been a stranger to advancing late into the Final 4 of D2 gameplay and brings that experience here into T1. So KT and I have talked about the fact that the seeding is just a number. It does not mean that any of those players that are lower seeded have any less experience than those that are seeded 1, 2, or 3. They are going to bring just as much to the table in each matchup as those that have the highest seeds in each one of the respective regions. And Gone proving that here is, as you saw, we are now going to have a 10 seed with G-Man taking on a 15 seed in Gone in our final. And as we're waiting for the reply here from Gone, gonna, courtesy of Short, going to update the bracket graphic here. And there you go. Gone moves on. And he will be facing off against G-Man. So it will be the winner of the Diablo region taking on the winner of the Jaguar region in our final here for Automotive April. As we'll bring it back to the main table here real quickly for the final word from Gone. This is definitely going to be a tough match. G-Man has a lot more experience. Hope I can drive through this, pun intended, keep this going. And I'm going to have to sweep because I left Myth win 4, so I'm 0-2. Let Myth win 4, so I'm 0-2 matches. So I'm going to be going for that sweep there. Myth has used the 2 wins that G-Man would have gotten in that final matchup, apparently. But it should be a great battle. Congratulations once again to Gone, as he'll be facing off against G-Man in the finals here in Automotive April. Stay tuned here to the MRE Uno YouTube channel to see when that matchup is going to be scheduled. Appreciate Caesar and Short for their help here on reffing. Had a lot of people in our watch party here this afternoon to watch this one go down. And Short just let me know as well that the D2 Final 4 is up next on MRE Uno as well. So yeah, stay tuned for all of those games coming up. Be sure to tune in. T1 Automotive April here in 2025. G-Man versus Gone. Who's going to take that title? We will find out soon. Thanks everybody for tuning in here this afternoon to this broadcast. And we'll see you guys next time here on the MRE Uno YouTube channel. Have a great rest of your day.
This has been a presentation of MRE Uno Division 1.